Welcome, everybody. Forgot to add myself to the screen there, but I see myself. Hopefully everybody sees me okay. And welcome to the May 21st, 2023 edition of Speaking of Zane. This is the 231st edition of Speaking of Zane. Started this thing way back on August the 5th, 2018. So we're coming up on an anniversary in August. Quite accidental, actually. Was just sitting out on the porch on a Sunday evening and just decided to start talking about Zane, and I broadcast it the very first time, and it felt good enough to keep doing it, and we've done it now most weeks for 231 weeks. Good to have everybody in there tonight. Let's see who we've got. Steve Shirley's in there. Hey, Steve and Kathy. Lori is in there right here in the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. Ken Pesic is in there from Central Florida. Daryl up in the metropolis of Florissant, Missouri, or Missouri, depending on your upbringing. Aunt Cindy's in there. Hello there, Aunt Cindy, over in Abilama. Jimbo Miller's in there. Hey, Jim, good to have you in there, up in Omaha, Nebraska-ish. And then A.A. Ron up in Detroit. A.A. Ron, the founder of Running to Honor. Aaron, I hear that you are the guest speaker at a Memorial Day event there in, gosh, help me out, Aaron. Tell me what little hamlet of Michigan there that you're in. I know you guys have upriver, downriver, all kind of stuff there, but Aaron does a lot of good work, of course, on behalf of veterans and raising awareness of veteran suicide and veteran issues. And well done to Aaron. There's my brother Brad in there. Hey, Brad, good to see you. A couple of weeks ago, under the worst of circumstances, Brad and I lost our mother. I think most everybody knows, and we did not have Speaking of Zane last week. Just wasn't up to it last week, and but she will absolutely be missed, my mom, and love her to death. And she was the ultimate military wife. I'll tell you what, Dad was gone all the time, 2 times in Vietnam, a couple times out on the aircraft carrier, Cuba, you name it. And somehow my mom, as young as she was when we were growing up, in her 20s, held it all together, knew everything, taught me how to drive when Dad was away. just the best mom, and just proud to be affiliated with the Marine Corps. She married a 17-year-old Marine, my dad, and about 9 or 10 months later, I come along, and then 11 months later, my sister comes along. But we did have a an awesome service for her down where my folks live in um, Fitzgerald, Georgia, which is Lori says, "Don't blame." Well, she sat in the passenger seat and let me drive the 1974 Pontiac Catalina. Had a 400 V8 in it, and I took driver's ed in high school back then. I don't know if they still have driver's ed in high school or not, but I had driver's ed in high school, so that's where I got all my learning. But you still had to ride with your parents there. But I rode with my mom. And I remember the very first day that she let me drive the car to school all by myself. 16 years old. We were in Oak Harbor, Washington, where my dad was stationed, Whidbey Island Naval Air Station. Of course, he was deployed on the Midway, I believe, at the time, and but mom let me drive to school. Man, I was scared to death. But what a fantastic mom she was. She had to learn. All of us spoke at the service, of course, all of us kids. And I told the story of a couple stories where I came along when she was but 18 years old. And then Sharon came along just 11 months later. So here's my mom, 18 years old, has two little kids and has to learn how to be a mom and all of that. Now, she had a little head start because she was the oldest of five sisters. She was the oldest of the sisters. Um, but anyway, so she got a little bit of a 4 years to try to figure out how to raise a kid. And then my brother Terry came along and threw all of that out of the water. He was uh, uh, to- totally different than me and my sister. But the other story I told was, after we'd all grown up and gone away and everything, um, we were stationed back in Nebraska for the second time. And we had Charlotte. Um, Charlotte was about a year and a half old when she got a tumor on her liver, and she had to have surgery to remove this tumor from her liver. And um, my mom knew. I told my mom exactly when the surgery was. And we were in Nebraska. My mom's in Georgia, but my mom. Um, she said, "I'm going to be at the church praying during the surgery." And was she 15 months? Yeah, Charlotte was 15 months. Anyway, just a little baby girl. And I remember them wheeling her back, and she, what did she say, Lori? She said, at 15 months old, she said something to me about not wanting to go back. Anyway, back to get, anyway. But anyway, so my mom all this time had planned on being at her church to pray during the surgery. Well, the church was just a couple miles away. But my mom was on her way in her old van. I guess it wasn't old at the time, but um, and the van broke down on the way to church, and my mom left the van in the middle of the street and walked to the church so she could pray during the surgery. And I told the story at her funeral, and I said, I guess that van might still be there, joking. And my dad said, "No, it got towed." And so the van got towed, but my mom didn't care. My mom did not care. She was left the van, walked the rest of the way to the church so she could pray for Charlotte. But anyway, she was a good mom for sure, and just had some declining health. I mean, she's had some health issues for quite some time now, but they've always been able to get them back on track. She had some early onset dementia, um, and I just saw her. Uh, what, Lori? 6, 8 weeks ago, I guess. Lori was down there last month and spent a week with her, while my dad, my sister, and one of my sister's grandkids drove out to San Antonio. And um, so Lori got to spend a whole week with her there. And, she was in decline. I really had to have somebody looking after her. But she was cognizant and everything. Well, the last couple of weeks, she really deteriorated in a bad way, and so bad that my sister called me on the Monday night. My mom passed on the Wednesday. Sharon called me Monday night, very upset, and she knew. And she said, "I just want you to be able to talk to your mom for the last time." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So I did. I talked to her on the Monday night, and she acknowledged me. And anyway, I couldn't come down on Tuesday, but had made plans um, to come down Wednesday. And about 3 in the morning on Wednesday, my dad calls me with the unfortunate news. So I drove down just a few hours later, and unfortunately, yeah, it was too late. But I did get to spend the day with Sharon and Brad and my dad, and and then Lori and I came back down for the funeral Friday and Saturday. But it went very fast the last couple of weeks, and I tell you, I'm so grateful to my sister for calling me on Monday, and I'm so grateful for my sister for looking after my mom. I mean, uh, just um, incredible. The commitment that my dad and my sister had, and my sister lives right there, and just so grateful for her. And I know that um, that burden was lifted, um, and yeah, it's hard for me to be upset. I mean, I'm going to miss my mom, um, but it's hard for me to be upset knowing where she's at and knowing now that she's whole again. And um, I didn't have to see her in the state that my sister and my dad did. And I'm grateful for them, for taking such good care of her. But her body just was plain old wore out. But yeah, my brother Brad says it's amazing how we all knew different sides of her. So glad we had the 50th anniversary service. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My brother Brad is 11 years younger than me, so he said at the funeral that he got her pretty much all to himself for this window of time, because Sharon and I had left, Terry had left, and Brad was still home. And he's right; we all had these different stages that, of how we knew our mom. I remember my mom with my dad deployed, and the way that she took care of everything. And I was the oldest, so she would delegate things to me and all that. Then I remember as a new grandmother when our son Tyler was born and all of that. But anyway, she was a special woman, Bonnie Sue McDonald. She was born December 26th of 1944, and passed away on May last Wednesday, 2 Wednesdays ago, whatever that day was, 2023. Hello, Amy Walton. Good to have you in there. Amy's down in Buccaneer Bay, Plattsmouth, Nebraska. Good to have you in there. I saw that Roy has a headstone now, and I know that there's something symbolic about it. I don't know. We went for maybe 4 to 6 weeks without Zane having a headstone, and it seemed crazy. Then when he got a headstone, there seemed to be something symbolic about the marker, right, that bears their name. Um, I mean, I don't know if you feel that way, Amy, or that's just the way I felt when his headstone finally arrived. Okay, my dad, hey Dad, I didn't know you were in there, but my dad says May the 10th. It was May the 10th, a couple of Wednesdays ago. But Mom and Dad were married for 60 years. An amazing, amazing woman for sure. True, Amy. Amy, so true. When you see their name etched in that marble, for sure, for eternity. Yeah, Daryl's concurring. Well, there's my cousin Robert in there. I tell you what, I um, always had a special relationship with my cousin Robert. He's my big. He felt like a big brother. I didn't have a big brother. Robert felt like my big brother. Robert's 2 or 3 years older than me, and he's my Uncle Bob's oldest. And they live down in Fitzgerald. And Robert and Angela were there. Got to see them. Okay, well, let's see. Armed Forces Day was yesterday. How about that? Yeah, every May, Armed Forces Day. That's where we honor and celebrate and thank uh, the members that are currently serving. How about that? And yesterday was Armed Forces Day. I got, yeah, I almost forgot this, and I've talked about this on Speaking of Zane, a group called Carry the Load. We even talked about that, gosh, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago. Well, I forgot when they were going to be in town. Now Lori and I have gone to meet up with these folks two or three of the last 2 or 3 years when they come through Georgia, and they came through again this year, and they were in town on it was the 18th. I don't know if that was a Wednesday, but anyway, and they were going to be in Ackworth, the town we live in, Ackworth, for a stop, 2 stops in Ackworth. And about 4 o'clock came around, and I wasn't even finished with work yet, and I saw a post come up about it, an alert come up about it, and I said, "Oh my goodness, it's they're in town." I have a couple school teachers that work for me. I said I asked my colleague Rhoda. I said, "Hey, run the meeting for me. I'm going to have to bug out for a little bit." And so I was able to run down to a park, very nice park that I had never visited before, that I'm going to visit more, right here in Ackworth, and met up with the gang there. And the guy that I sort of buddied up with over the last few years is a guy called Ed Luan, and Ed is a Dallas police officer, and fascinating guy with a fascinating story. And anyway, he didn't take this route this year, so he wasn't there. I get there and Ed's not there, and I ask him about him and everything. But I got a chance to meet this ranger guy, Jose, and a couple of the other students that were along. They started this route they call the New England route. They started in Vermont. They're going to finish in Dallas. They've got After they left Atlanta, they headed up to Calhoun, Dalton, Chattanooga, Knoxville, over to the Nashville Metro, Smyrna, Murfreesboro. Then I think they're going down to Birmingham, and then back up to Memphis, and then over to Arkansas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, whatever. Anyway, so I got to go spend a little bit of time, walk with them at the park, and it was good. They do good work and raise awareness, carry the load. Go check them out. Daryl, I know Daryl got a chance to see the carry the load, the Midwest team, as they stopped in Jefferson Barracks. So how about that, Daryl? And appreciate you posting about that. See, he forgot they were going to be there. I forgot, but we both ended up making it to our respective carry the load stops. That was awesome. Now the one in Omaha, for you Omahans, is going to be May 23rd. May 23rd. So what is that? Tuesday. I think they have several stops in the area there. Amy looked it up. I think Council Bluffs, a couple places in Omaha, and then I think they finished the Omaha stops at Omaha National. Okay, Monday and Tuesday. Okay, let me look here at something real quick and see. Yeah, let me share this and see if this jives with. Let me see if this jives with what you're thinking there, Amy. There we go. Screen 2. The Midwest group says they will be in Quincy, Burlington today, Des Moines tomorrow. They must get to Omaha tomorrow afternoon or evening. And then they've got Omaha Lincoln on Tuesday the 23rd. So there you go. There you go. So if anybody, I tell you, it's a good group of folks that most of them do the entire trip, which is like 3 weeks, three or more weeks. And they have a lot of college students, and of course, but it's incredible outfit for sure. I look forward to them visiting next year. Well, let's see what else. Had a Veterans Block party yesterday, and I forgot about it till the last minute. And you hear me talking about a little bar and grill that we have here locally that gets quite a bit of attention, called Semper Fi Bar and Grill. Some of you have been there. My dad's been there, Lori, of course, and it's like what is it, Dad? Like a military museum almost. It's packed full of memorabilia, but it's a nice little burger place, bar and grill kind of place. Anyway, they had their first ever veteran block party, and it was like they had veteran-owned businesses all set up, and T-shirts and hats and all different kind of stuff. And food was free. They had pulled pork sandwiches, pulled pork plates, free to all veterans, and they had a band, and it was just it was really good. I only stayed there maybe an hour or so, but Ralph and Carrie own the place, and they always do a great job. Let's see, what else do we got here? Got some activities coming up this week. Of course, next Monday's Memorial Day, and I've been talking about all the Memorial Day activities at work that we've been planning. We've never really done this at my work. We're sort of branching up. I just felt compelled. I lead our employee group, veterans group, and felt compelled really to highlight Memorial Day this year like we've never done. And so we had a lot of activities. We had a flag retirement ceremony I talked about a few weeks ago that Daryl attended. We're placing at two of our large facilities, we're placing 300 American flags in one area, grassy area at our headquarters, and 100 flags at that flagpole area where we did the retirement ceremony. And then we're doing a battlefield cross, so a silhouette of the typical boots, helmet, rifle, and we're going to have a sign. We've got signs made up that tell the story about why are these flags here. And then I coordinated for us to have a missing man table at each of these locations. So we had a lot of things to draw attention to Memorial Day, to tell the story of Memorial Day. It's not just a holiday. And one of the big events or activities is a roundtable discussion that I'm hosting. I'm sort of the facilitator of the discussion, and I've got one of our employees who's an Army Reserve major, and he lost his sergeant major in Afghanistan, so he's going to tell his sergeant major story. And then we've got one of our employees in Omaha who his uncle was killed on D-Day. So Dennis is going to tell the story about his uncle. And then I've got Kelly Kowal, our friend from My Warrior's Place, is going to tell Corey Kowal's story. And then I've got Greg Page, also from Omaha. Greg lost his son, Corporal Dagan Page, United States Marine Corps, in that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. And Greg's son Dagan is buried there at Omaha National, and Jim sees him regularly when he swings by there. And Greg has agreed to come, and he's going to tell the story of Dagan. So I'm going to host it, and it's open to anybody that wants to sit in. and listen to me try to cram everything into 1 hour. And I'm going to do my best to moderate that conversation. So if anybody would like to watch the webinar, you just go to our website and you just register for it. And then you tune in on the day. It's actually Thursday, the 25th at 2 o'clock Eastern. Thursday, the 25th at 2 o'clock Eastern. And if you want the link to that, just let me know. And I can make sure you have that. There's my Aunt Mary in there. Hey, Aunt Mary. Saw Aunt Mary at Mom's funeral as well. Okay, well, let's see. So got a lot of things I'll be reporting on next week. All right, Ken, I'll post a link there for you. Actually, why don't I do this while I'm thinking about it? I'll put it in this chat. You let me know if you see it okay. There you go. You just have to go to our website, put in an email address, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's see. So that'll be fun. And then we're doing, I'm waiting until June for this. I don't want to try to get too much going, but we're doing another flag retirement ceremony at our work at a whole nother facility. So I'll let you guys know about that. Okay, let's see. There should be, in everybody's area, some Memorial Day activities coming up this weekend. Usually the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Memorial Day, you see the activities going on. For us at Georgia National Cemetery, there's the Memorial Day ceremony is on Saturday, which is typical Saturday, the 27th. The ceremony is at 9, and then after the ceremony is going to be the flag placement. So that's an early day because you have to really get there early if you want to park inside the cemetery. But I don't know when Omaha's is. I don't know when JB's is, but you guys can go check. But they'll have flag placement. And most places have some ceremony of some kind. And then most people's little towns have Memorial Day. I know our little town of Ackworth has a Memorial Day. It always conflicts with Georgia National, but I know there's a lot of little towns that still have Memorial Day celebrations and ceremonies, etc. Let's see. Lori says Flag Day in June. Yeah, Flag Day. Fly your flag. Fly your flag. We fly one every day, but Flag Day, we'll call that out, Lori, when the date is. Okay, let's see. What do we got going on? What else do we got going on? Oh, I get to cash in on a birthday gift of mine tomorrow evening. Lori and I are going to the Stevie Nicks concert in Atlanta. How about that? Stevie Nicks. Let's see. Oh, Lori says Flag Day in June. Okay, yeah, good idea, Lori. Good idea. Maybe we do the flag retirement ceremony I'm talking about in coordination with Flag Day, which is in June, right? Look it up, Lori. Tell me what the date is, and I'll figure that out. That would be brilliant. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to Stevie Nicks tomorrow night. And then Lori and I are going to the Braves game here in town at Truist Park on Wednesday night. I can't remember who they're playing. Some subpar West Coast team. I can't remember who, but Lori and I will be at the Braves game. It'll be our first game of the year that we've been to, but should be a good time. Braves took 2 out of 3 from the Mariners. Very rare for them to play Seattle, but they won Friday night, lost last night, won this afternoon. How about that? Okay, let's see. What else? Hat of the week is the Braves because we're going to the Braves game this week. Hat of the week always has something to do with what's going on around here. And we're going to the Braves game. Oh, yeah, it's the Dodgers. They're playing the Dodgers. So it should be an easy win for us. Okay, Daryl says Flag Day is June 14th. Okay, well, the timing is that seems to be really good. They'll give a couple of weeks after we do our Memorial Day stuff at work, so maybe get that behind us and maybe do that on Flag Day. How about that? Lori had a wonderful idea. Let me see what I can pull together. Okay, let's see. I have been so terrible about pulling this week in military history items. I did see a history item, an aviation history item today. Amelia Earhart made her first transatlantic flight today. Anybody know what year that was? I don't remember. There's Carl and Peggy from Missouri, the Show Me State. Hey, y'all. Good to have you in there. All right, Steve's coming through. Thank you, S2, with some military history items. On the 22nd of May, 1968, the USS Scorpion was lost with 99 crewmen on board. Terrible. Fortunately, those accidents like that are much more rare these days, for sure. We do have a lot of aviation accidents, of course, because gravity is unforgiving. Okay, let's see. We do have some Veteran Cemetery Challenge visits. Now, Veteran Cemetery Challenge and the Thank a Vet Challenge, I may be off a little bit, but I'm going to tell you what I think I know and add things up here. So, Veteran Cemetery Challenge. All right, Daryl. I think Daryl made 2 visits to Jefferson Barracks. He'll correct me if I get that wrong. I'm just going to go down the list. My dad, of course. Whoops, I got to add another one for my dad. My dad has made at least 2 visits to Evergreen Cemetery in Fitzgerald this week. We made a visit, of course. Actually, I should say that that's 3, because we made a visit the day before, and then we made a visit the day of, and then I saw that Dad was out there today looking after the grave site, and won't be the last visit that my dad makes to my mom, that's for sure. So Dad, I've got Evergreen times 3. Sharon, I'm going to put her times 3, so I'm going to add 2 more to that. Robert and Angela obviously made a trip to Evergreen, so I've got that. Jim Miller, you have to help me here. I know you made at least 1 visit to Omaha National and saw Todd, Corporal Page, and Roy Walton. Jim was the one that alerted us on the Speaking of Zane Facebook page that Roy now has a headstone. So thank you for that, Jim. Lori, of course, made the visit to Evergreen. I made the 2 visits to Evergreen, so 3. And I went to Georgia National Cemetery yesterday. What a beautiful day it was to get out. I tell you, I work like most of you, except for S2, who's retired now, and Amy, who's retired. But I work 40 to 60 hours a week. I'm still working hard. It's good to disconnect sometimes. So I did that yesterday. For the most part, Saturday, I just disconnected. I visited the cemetery. I probably spent a couple hours there, visit with Zane. I do a lot of walking out there. I had a cigar out there yesterday on the bench. The weather was just beautiful. It's just, and then I went to Simplify Bar and Grill from there. So it's good to get away, disconnect. All right, Jim's in there correcting me here, so I'm gonna have to add. This is good. I'm gonna get caught up here. So Jim had 2 to St. John's, 3 to Omaha. So I'm gonna add 5. Thank you, Jimbo. Yeah, Daryl's retired too. Yeah, I forget about Daryl. Daryl's about my dad's age. Oh, Roy or Amy, I'm sorry. I didn't finish my list. I know Amy went out there on Roy's birthday, which was it the 18th, Amy? Roy's birthday. I've got you listed here. And then my Aunt Paula visited Prattville Memorial Gardens back near in a Montgomery suburb. And then she also went to Alabama National and visited her husband, my Uncle Mike. So if I add all of those, let's see, Aunt Mary made the visit to Evergreen, Toby made the visit to Evergreen, so I've got them included in the count. So we had a really strong week for visits, and we're sitting at 828 visits. 828 visits. It's a shame that we have to visit our own loved ones there, but I don't know. See, I've described it as my favorite place and my least favorite place all at the same time. It's a weird way to explain it, but you know, having experienced now the last 7 years the beauty of these places, and the reverence I feel there, um, I would visit them. I would have been visiting them sooner and more frequently than I did before Zane. But it's really weird. But anyway, thank you all for um, making those visits with us and documenting them so that we can celebrate them and tell others about what these veteran cemeteries are all about and what they mean. So 828 visits we're at to 174 plus different locations all around the world. So thank you guys for doing that, as well as the thank yous. And we started these thank yous very was very accidental. Lori and I were on our way back home from Texas after visiting our daughter Charlotte, who was at Texas A&M at the time, and ran into a Vietnam vet in the airport. And I just stopped and said hello. Lori took a picture of us, I think, and then that was the start of it. And here we are now. Every week we tabulate every time we thank a veteran or have a conversation with a veteran. So let me tell you what I think I know about that over the last couple of weeks as Ken updates the list here. Ken, I've got a spot on here for Ken. So Ken had two. Let me read Ken's narrative there. You can read along with me. First was a SAC veteran, KC-135 Navigator. How about that? Served at Ellsworth, of course. The other was a World War II Purple Heart recipient. Wow. He really couldn't speak any longer, and his family had to basically speak in his ear. For sure, he was in his 90s or 100. Yeah. Ken, I'm going to top you on that front here in just a minute, buddy. But wow, what an amazing thing. Now, Ken's dad was a World War II veteran, a Pearl Harbor survivor, in fact. You guys will hear Ken's father's story again on December 7th or thereabouts, whenever Speaking of Zane falls this year. Ken did that for us last year. Just a fascinating story. Carl thanked a retired Air Force Master Sergeant. Okay, Carl, I've got a spot on here for Carl, so I'm going to stay on Air Force. Then I'm going to add Ken's 2 and your 1. That's going to take us to the total here in a minute. All right, so with all of those thank yous, let's see. Daryl had a Navy vet, Greg, this week. Aunt Paula had 2 Vietnam vets and a Pasco County sheriff. Ken had the 2. I had Ralph and Carrie at Semper Fi. They're both Marines. I had a Coast Guardsman and his wife that I sat down and ate dinner with. And then I thanked an Army vet. Where did I thank this guy? Oh gosh, where was at the carry the load, the Ranger guy. Yep. And then yesterday, Ken, at Semper Fi Bar and Grill, Ralph, like he does the each branch of the service's birthday, they cut a cake and they have a birthday party for each branch, and they have the oldest veteran from that service and the youngest cut the cake. And oh yeah, Lori's got let me hang on a second. I'll tell that story in a minute. Let me get right back to her. Lori had the sheriff at Bucky's. I missed that one. Okay, so if I add that one right here. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Okay, so anyway, so at the block party, the veteran block party, Ralph did the same thing and had a big cake, and the oldest veteran and the youngest veteran cut the cake, make the first cut. And the youngest veteran was a young lady, who's 22, and she's a current member of the Georgia National Guard. And the oldest, Ralph did a very good job of dragging this story out. There was one guy that was 96, World War II vet, 96 years old, and Ralph thought that he would be the oldest there. Well, he was not. He was there, but he was not the oldest. There was a 100-year-old World War II veteran there. Well, Ralph thought he would be the oldest. He was not the oldest. There was a 104-year-old World War II veteran at Semper Fi Bar and Grill yesterday, and he was the oldest and got to cut the cake. And so, Ken, I shook the hand of 3 World War II veterans yesterday, all in one fell swoop. In fact, let me see if I've got that picture handy real quick, and I will show you just to prove it. Here we go. You can go to the Speaking to Zane Facebook group and you can see all the pictures that I uploaded, but I feel, here we go. So let me share this. And I can't wait for my dad to be a 100-year-old Vietnam vet. How about that, Dad? That's 22 more years for you. Here you go. Okay, Ken, ready? There we go. How about that? Oh, goodness. Goodness. Oh, Ken and Steve, boy, Ken. Steve's going to get you, man. Steve's going to get you. But look at that. Look at those guys from left to right. I think the guy, the farthest right was the 104. He was the closest to the cake there. But yeah, what a treasure. That was crazy. All right, Jimbo, I'm going to add your 4 thank yous here. Sorry I missed those. And I'm going to update the count. All right. All right. Yeah. So just incredible. We're losing those guys every single day, of course, but it was special for sure. Okay, let's see. Steve says, Steve's gonna whoop your butt, Ken. Whenever y'all get together next, he's got that'd be a good mud wrestling match between the 2 of you guys. Okay, an Airedale and a Conehead. We'll see which one wins. Okay, here we go. So Daryl had the Navy vet, Lori, Paula, Guy, Carl. Okay, so I think if my math is right, that takes us up to 2,117 thank yous, 2,117 times that a veteran has heard from this relatively small group of patriots. Thank you, or hey, I appreciate you, or hey, what'd you do in the service, or hey, I was in SAC also, or hey, whatever the case. But thank you guys for doing that along with us. Who'd have thought that we'd be up to well over 2,000 that we've done that for? Crazy. Okay, well, let's see. Organizations. Got some organization updates. There's a lot of organizations out there that do great work for veterans, and we talk about them. And we have a whole section during Speaking to Zane where we talk about them. And, Lori and I know of or are affiliated with or support a variety of them. You guys do as well. We got to learn about Aaron and Running to Honor from Matt and Katie. And so anyway, I like to keep up with all of these organizations that are doing great work. And if there's something new with each of them, we'll call them out. Well, the Running to Honor, I already mentioned Aaron there and great work he's doing. Well, the race is coming up on July. Coming up, man, we're screaming in on June already. So it'll be here before you know it, July 30th or 31st, something like that. Aaron picked the hottest day of the year in Georgia to have the Running to Honor 5K, but we'll make it work. Should be fun. I think my dad is registered, my sister, and my nephew Cody, who is an Army first lieutenant. Got to see him last week as well. All right, let's see. So running to honor. The thing I was talking about, Aaron, what Aaron did, Aaron saw a need. You can go look at the Facebook group. I won't tell the whole story, but anyway, today is the 30th anniversary of Operation Rushlow. Aaron calls it. Go read the story. There were some Vietnam veterans that were left off of the Vietnam Veteran Wall there in this little town in Michigan, and Aaron took them 3 years, but Aaron spearheaded the effort to get their names on there. And just a fantastic story. And that's the kind of work that he does. So shout out again to Aaron and Running to Honor. All right. I mentioned My Warrior's Place and Kelly. Kelly's going to be my guest this week and tell Corey's story. I'm kind of hamstringing Kelly and the others. I mentioned I'm going to do my best to moderate this conversation inside 60 minutes. And I've told them that they have up to 10 minutes to tell their story. And you guys have met Kelly, so you know that Corey's story and the story of My Warrior's Place is so robust that we can go just an hour with Kelly. But so I'm hamstringing them by limiting the narrative to about 10 minutes, but it'll leave the audience wanting more, and we'll point them on where to get more. So Kelly is going to do that with us Thursday. And then I mentioned the block party at Semper Fi. They're beginning to franchise, actually. They started in the restaurant business 8 years ago. Ralph tells this story. They went out to Las Vegas, and there's a Marine Corps themed bar and grill in Las Vegas called Leatherneck Grill or something. Ralph and Carrie went there, and they thought, man, why couldn't we do something like that back in Woodstock, Georgia? Well, they came back, and it wasn't too long later that they found the restaurant. They gathered all this memorabilia, and of course it's been accumulating over the years, but they started in the restaurant business. And Ralph tells a fantastic story about, we took all of our restaurant experience and started this. He says, and all of our restaurant experience consisted of us eating at a lot of restaurants. That was his restaurant experience. And they have just done such a fantastic job. They managed to stay open during COVID, improvise, adapt, and overcome. Like true Marines, they adapted, and they stayed open and weathered it, and are thriving, and have probably the biggest Marine Corps ball gathering in the Southeast now at this little bar and grill in Woodstock, Georgia. Anyway, if you come to Woodstock, Georgia, or anywhere close, you got to go visit. Trust me. Okay. And then Carry the Load. I mentioned Carry the Load. We already talked about that. So those are the organizational highlights this week. And the next section is the one I hate the most. And that's the heroes lost or wounded. But you know what? I didn't see any for this week. Praise God. So it's always good when we're not reporting on a loss. Now, that doesn't mean there weren't. I just didn't know about it. But I try to do my best to be aware when that does happen, because they deserve to be recognized and honored. And people deserve to hear that there are others sacrificing their lives on their behalf. I mean, doggone it. I mean, I'm afraid there's generations that aren't gonna know that, and that's part of why I'm doing this thing at work, is to make sure that people can put a face, put a name with the sacrifice, the reason why they're off next Monday, and just a little thing, but. If we all did that, think about it. If we all did something like that, shared about the meaning of Memorial Day. All right, and we'll do that next week. So we'll plan on Speaking of Zane on Sunday night. I know some people are traveling and stuff like that, but I think it's probably better for us to do a Sunday night Speaking of Zane than a Monday night Speaking of Zane. Although if we did it Monday night, we could talk about anything that anybody did on the Monday, but well, I'll just make a judgment call there. But all right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining tonight. After having an entire 2 weeks go by since we spoke Zane's name, shared about organizations that do great work, share about the thank yous that we've made to fellow veterans, and shared about the visits that we made to those veterans who paid the ultimate price. So I appreciate you guys joining and celebrating veterans with us and honoring those that have fallen. And I especially appreciate you guys saying Lori and my son Zane's name. I appreciate it. I so love the sound of his name. He has a unique name to begin with, but I just love it when somebody asks me about Zane. When I hear the name Zane come out of somebody else's mouth, I don't know um, how to explain it. I really don't. But it does something to me. Anyway, they say that a person dies twice. Once when they take their last breath, and then again when their name is no longer spoken. And that's part of why Speaking of Zane exists, is so that doesn't happen to our son Zane, at least while Lori and I are here on earth. We'll continue to say his name, speak his name, and we appreciate you guys doing that along with us. We do not take it for granted. So thank you all. Looking forward to a great week filled with Memorial Day activities. And I'm looking forward to hearing how you all um, observe Memorial Day, privately or publicly, when we talk next week and the following week. And don't be bashful about sharing on the Speaking of Zane Facebook group. And we'll look forward to following that. Next week, we'll see you back here. It'll be 232nd edition of Speaking of Zane. So I really do appreciate you guys gathering faithfully every Sunday evening to hear me talk and talk and talk. And trust me, I don't take it for granted, and I know Lori doesn't either. So we certainly appreciate you guys, and we'll see you back here next week. God bless.